Okay, this is just hopefully a quick video about how to 6-cylinder swap your Subaru. It's not a end-all be-all, like this is where you find all your information and this is exactly how you do it. But I do get a lot of people asking me basically how do you do it, and I want to just have a quick video that I can link back to for them and just like, send them a link and just be like, here, I made a video explaining this already, and it's just a lot easier that way. I'm sure there's a lot of other people more qualified to make a video like this out there, but I got my notes here on the back of my lease violation. But got my notes here, so hopefully I don't miss anything at all. But first, I'm just gonna start off by saying about my projects that I've got so far, the different 6 cylinders that you can choose from, and then what the swap actually takes mechanically and then electrically, or electrical like wise, I guess wiring wise, how you want to go about it. So first, I have I've only technically got one running so far, but I've been dealing with the motors for a little while now. I mean, just not swapping them, just having them because they're good motors. But I have a 05 RS that has a EZ30D in it, and which is the drive-by cable one, the first gen EZ one, and it has a 5-speed behind it, and I love it. It's a awesome daily for me. I wish I could have gotten that one a little more clean and everything working how I want it to, but that's what I'm trying to translate into this next one here that I'm doing right now, which is a 99 Legacy GT wagon, and not a right-hand drive male one that's been, beat on every day for 300,000 miles, but an actual left-hand drive one with I think only like 125,000 miles, something like that. But anyways, this one's getting EZ30D as well, the drive-by cable one, and it's just a little bit cleaner. I'm trying to do everything a lot nicer, and wiring-wise is where it's really gonna change, and that changes the drivability, that changes everything else about it, really. But anyways, so those are the only two that I really got right now. I have had other 6 cylinders, and I have dealt with them a little bit. I've really dealt with the 4 cylinders, and I mean, I'm sure the turbo ones are better. I have, to be fair, I've not really dealt with turbo ones all that much at all. But I've had my fair share of NA 4 cylinders with my GC, or at least 2000 RS Coupe. I don't think it's actually a GC, but that guy chewed up, spit out 7 or 8 4 cylinders. But to be fair, these are also ones that I'm buying for like 50 bucks in a case of beer or this or that. So a little biased probably. But so 6-cylinder wise, really you have 3 to choose from. You could, I think there's an older weird one too, maybe, if I remember right. But I guess there's technically 4 then, or 5. But so I'm only going to talk about, you have the EG33, EZ30D, EZ30R, which I think technically is the EZ30D, like Mark II or like Phase 2, whatever, but referred to as EZ30R. And then you have the EZ36, which seems really similar to the EZ30R, but kind of a different animal in itself. EG33, it's an older one. It came in the SPXs. It is a really similar to the EJ. It's kind of like they just slapped on 2 more cylinders on the end, really. That is a 3.3 liter 6-cylinder, and it's one issue for taking that route to go is that they're much older and they didn't make as many of them, so finding parts for it, it's just not as common in the junkyards or this or that kind of deal, but still a great motor that people choose. And then there's the EZ30D, which is what I just put in this guy, and I put in my 05 RS, and that's what you'll find a lot of the time, especially for the cheaper side of things anyways. And these ones came in like, I think only the 3rd gen Outbacks, and I actually think it was only the 3rd gen Outbacks, at least here in the States. And I like those ones a lot. They are more common. You can find them in junkyards and this and that. They're drive-by cable, so it's easier to swap into these older ones, just less wiring-wise to deal with. One issue is that the exhaust is merged before it exits the head, so you only have one single larger oval exhaust exit on each head at the bottom there. And that, I believe, was for emissions to help warm up the cap faster and just have better emissions on the motor. Some people like that, some people don't like that. I think what the deal is with that is NA tuning capabilities, you're limited because you can't really do anything with like a header design and stuff like that because it's already pre-mixed in the head before you even escape. And then boost wise, I don't believe that matters. EZ30D made 210 horsepower roughly, and then after that they made the EZ30R, or the EZ30D like phase 2, and that one is just, it's just more modern. It's a more modern engine than the EZ30D with it's drive-by-wire, individual exhaust ports coming out of each side of the head, so you have actually 6 exhaust ports. It has AVLS and AVCS, so it has variable lift, valve lift, and variable valve timing. So they can get a little bit more power out of it that way, and then I believe from tuning capabilities, you can get even more out of it from that there. And it made about 245 horsepower, so that's kind of a nice little bump that people like to do. They have a plastic intake manifold. Ideally shouldn't leave you with colder, better flow, and technically, I mean, motors like cooler, colder, denser air, so that. And then there's also the EZ36. That's very similar to the EZ30R, but like I said in the beginning, very different animal. It's a drive-by-wire as well, individual exhaust port still, no AVLS, but it does have dual AVCS, and it made about 260 horsepower. So it's another little bump up there, some differences. It has 3 timing chains, so I mean, even the timing's different on it too. The popular ones are gonna be the EZ30D and EZ30R though. Those are the ones you see people mainly swapping. Mechanically, what this swap will take, it'll drop right into your subframe, it'll bolt right up to your transmission, manual or automatic. Remember though, if you're gonna do a manual, obviously they didn't come with a manual, so you'd have to, that's more of a wiring deal you have to tackle afterwards, but it's well worth it. Honestly, opens them up so much. It's such a fun daily with a little 5-speed to drive around town. The radiators do fit from the 6 cylinders into the chassis. I believe all the chassis except for the 2nd gen chassis. The issue you'll run into 9 out of 10 times, unless you're in a 2nd gen chassis like I am right now with this wagon, is that your front to back width for your fans up against your front timing cover are gonna be like basically touching the timing cover, and that's gonna be way too freaking hot. It might rub up against it, it might, you know, I've had a fan go out because of this, melted itself. Mine did fit, at least in my GD chassis on my 05 RS. So because it fit, I just left it, and with 2 fans, it cooled it enough, and it's still doing good how it is now. But in this chassis, even if I could fit it in, because this, so in the 2nd gen chassis, the issue I'm having with this one is that the radiator is it's so much shorter height-wise than the EJs, or the regular ones. So what I could do is replace that lower radiator support with a turbo model lower radiator support from a different country or whatever or wherever I get that, I guess. Or take one from like another chassis that would work, that just drops it like 1.5 to 2 inches or so. The issue on this one is still, it's just even closer to the front of that motor. So really what I'd have to do is get 2 12-inch pusher fans, put them on the front of the AC condenser, and that'll work perfectly. You have no cooling issues with that. So one issue you will run into for the accessories on these though, if you wanted to like swap it over, is that on my 05 RS, I could swap my power steering pump right into the 6-cylinder power steering pump bracket, and that wasn't a big deal. But I can't use the alternator, I couldn't use the AC compressor, and that's because of, well, I mean, very different, and they're just, I mean, completely different mounting and everything on some of those. But on this 99 Legacy wagon, I can't even put that power steering pump in because it's just also the hosing and everything, but also this one's trying to be cleaner. So for my fix for this one, I mean, this one's weird. I have EZ30R accessories in the bracket on the front just because I had them kind of deal. But either way, what I'm gonna do is, also I'm kind of building this one up a little bit, but SDI power steering rack, and then just change the hosing, like the lines from the power steering pump down and around to the power steering rack for Outback ones. So that way it'll look and come out of the engine cover that I'm looking at right here. I have this little cutaway here that they got. It'll come right out of that nicely. It'll look factory, and you'll have a better steering rack in there. So another thing though is generation differences with like your accessories, besides just mounting and stuff. That could just be from, you know, they made that one from like 2000 to 2004 or something like that. and all of a sudden you're trying to put like a 2005, 2009 EZ30R in your car or something like that, and it's just like doesn't work. I mean, you'll find that kind of stuff, but that's not a big deal compared to the other stuff. And then finally, for the most important part that everyone wants to hear about, is the electrical, like wiring side of things, and that's what deters like 75% of people from doing it. Everyone and their brother can swap a motor in a car. I mean, you're one YouTube video away, realistically. But there's pretty much only 3 options that you can do wiring wise to get one of these to actually run. So my red car, which I'm not proud to admit how I did that one because it was my first one, and it's kind of like a quick and dirty, but it's like quick and dirty way, but it's not like that bad if I were to finish it. But even then, I'm still not like happy with it. But I have Outback, like from a 2002 Outback LL Bean, I have all of the wiring out of that car in my 05 RS. I took all the old wiring from the Impreza out and I put all the Outback in. On top of the gas tank, underneath the floor, all the way to the back seat, and then on the bulkhead harness behind the dash, and then the engine bay harness as well. I just swapped all of it because I had the car, so that's what I did for that one. And that's the only reason why I even got into this crap, is that I had it and I was like, ooh, that'd be kind of cool to see it in this guy over here. Like, I wonder if people do that. Google it. Then I found the 6-Cylinder Swap Facebook group, and turns out there's like 9,500 people in the world that are really into it, or something like that, if I remember right. So you can do that though. You can swap in the whole Outback harness, like everything, all the body wiring, and then you can sit there and you can merge every plug for like the car door locks, if it doesn't actually just, you know, go right, like plug right into how it should, if it's not like the same generation kind of swap. You have to swap like the door locks, the interior lighting, the I don't know, your tail light wiring, headlights. I don't know, there's tons of stuff like that. You have to do a lot of that stuff for your heater blowers and stuff. If you have automatic AC and stuff. If you have cable driven, keep it. Just do that. Just don't even deal with it. And that's not a bad way to go about it, because as long as you get the Outback ECU in there, that it'll work. It's just that you'll have drivability issues that you'll be trying to fight with, because it doesn't know how to idle really. It's always searching for the automatic trans, and it never runs top notch how it should. So you're kind of honestly robbing yourself of like power gains and just better drivability, and you might not have the greatest experience, but you're definitely, if you get it running, you're still going to have that holy shit, I got it running, and you're going to be ripping through town in it because you think you're Need for Speed now. But you can reflash the ECU to be more happy with it. You can wire in resistors here, there, and you know, you can do stuff like that, and you can get it to run better though, but it's not the best route. The other way you can do it is merge two bulkhead ECUs, kind of merge the bulkhead ECUs. And that one, I'm not going to tell you how to do that. That is, you have to figure that out. It's not as straightforward. It's a lot of steps involved. It's a long time, tedious process. I might try to insert some clips here. I don't know how much work I'm going to put into this video, but what I'm doing right now on this wagon is I'm merging the ECUs, merging the ECU into the wiring. So what I did, I took the Outback bulkhead harness, I stripped what I needed out of that, basically engine plugs through firewall to ECU and like some other little stuff, and then I'm transplanting that into the 99 Legacy bulkhead harness after I removed that same stuff from the 4-cylinder crap basically, and I'm just merging where I need to and then wrapping it back up. Since it's going to be running off the Outback ECU, because that's what I'm merging into the chassis, I'm going to try to do it like a poor man's standalone ECU and just get it reflashed, so it'll be okay. No check engine lights, cruise control should work, air conditioning will work, it'll know how to idle good, it'll drive great, and you won't even be able to tell. It'll be almost like it came that way from the factory, and that is what I'm chasing with this car. Try and do it a cheap way and see how this goes with the stock ECU. I'd like to see how it goes because I haven't done it, but I have heard good reviews about it. So that's one way you can do it. That's a very popular way too. So the third way that we could do it is wire in a standalone ECU. And if you're going to be doing anything past the EZ30D, so the second phase one, or the EZ30R, you're going to need to do a standalone. Maybe people can reflash the EZ30R ECU now, but last time I checked, basically not, can't. The last time I checked, basically can't. I would say Easy 30D is a really good one to choose just because of the less just wiring, electrical, and everything involved. Just easier to get running. You can, it's still, I mean, it's a great motor either way if you choose the Easy 30D or the Easy 30R. But the Easy 30R, you need to do a standalone, is my understanding of that. And if you do a standalone, it's the same concept of doing the Easy 30D with the ECU merging into the harness like that. But but for the most part, it's probably going to be easier because they're probably going to give you a little pigtail coming off the ECU at least, and being like, or at least a pinout kit or pin crimping terminal kit kind of deal, and tell you on ECU pinout of their aftermarket standalone ECU, these are what these all are, and these are your other ones, and then it's up to you to merge them. And it's just a little bit easier and also cleaner, but also more tuning capabilities, of course. So if you're doing like a built motor or like a boosted 6-cylinder setup, or just, I don't know, honestly it would run the best with a standalone ECU and a proper tune at the end of the day. So if you just had the money to be able to do it, that would be the best way at the end of the day to do it, is wiring a standalone ECU. But again, that is a huge task, because I mean, maybe not for a lot of us that have like kind of dealt with this, or even people that are just like really eager to do it. It's just that it really takes, a lot of people end up quitting in the process of the wiring because it just takes, it's very difficult. And you get really lost in it, and it's really tedious. But that is also the best and cleanest way to do it, is just to merge in a standalone ECU. I believe any of these that you do, you will not pass emissions, so don't try. I'm definitely not going to say that this would pass emissions, even with the reflash factory ECU. I don't live in an emission testing state, so I don't have to deal with that, so I don't even look into that. So that's on you. That's all up to you guys. So I believe that's kind of it for basically what it takes. I will actually be, once I finish the wiring on my 99 wagon here, I will be making some videos about this car and getting it done and wrapped up. I got some GD STI Brembos for it. I'm gonna get the STI power steering rack for it. The motor's looking pretty clean. I'll try to insert some stuff here if I really care about it or not, but I will be making some videos about this guy. It's just that wiring's pretty boring, so I'm not gonna be showing you me doing all these little wiring things. I will, however, give a good outline video once I'm actually done with the wiring and got it back in the car, just to like show what I kind of did more in depth. But for the most part, it's just going to be all the mechanical stuff that's fun to watch, and I mean, you still get to see it rip. It makes all the good sounds, you know. But yeah, stay tuned. I'll get into that, and it should be coming out hopefully within the next month or so.